Bellevue, Washington. Alex Bobigny, who was convicted of brutally murdering a Bellevue family in 1997, was resentenced Tuesday after changes to juvenile sentencing laws. Bobigny, now 44, was just 17 years old when he and his best friend David Anderson were arrested for the murders of Kimberly Wilson, her parents, Bill and Rose Wilson, and her sister Julia. Both were originally sentenced to life without parole. Senior Singles Connection. Share your feelings and emotions with someone. The Law Chat. Sponsored. Read more. It is extremely difficult to imagine what the last moments of life must have been like for William, Rosalie, Kimberly, and Julia Wilson. The fear, pain, anguish, and helplessness that they felt, Judge Jason Poldros said to the Wilson family in the courtroom. You've been forced to relive the events of this case while having very little control over this process. The sentencing follows a 2012 U.S. Supreme Court ruling that life without parole for juveniles violates the 8th Amendment's protection against cruel and unusual punishment. Washington followed suit in 2018, ruling that juveniles should be treated differently due to their undeveloped brains. As a result, Berenice's life sentence was vacated, and prosecutors were required to seek a new sentence, with the minimum now set at 25 years to life. During the resentencing hearing, King County Superior Court Judge Jason Poldros expressed remorse for the impact the legal process had on the victims' families. I want to extend my sincere apologies to you for the trauma that the uncertainty of this process has caused you, Poldros said. Bobigny and Anderson plotted the murders for over a year, according to court records. The killings of the Wilson family were not impulsive, spur-of-the-moment crimes of passion, but instead were the result of thorough planning, Poldros said. He referenced the pair's efforts to conceal evidence and evade law enforcement. Bobigny strangled Kimberly Wilson, while Anderson stomped and kicked her before they both drove to her home and killed her family. The motive behind the murders was to eliminate potential witnesses. At the time of the investigation, officers found a "How to Get Away with Murder" book in Anderson's room. Despite Berenice's youth at the time of the crimes, Poldros noted that his actions did not fully align with the hallmark features of youth, like impulsivity and lack of understanding of consequences. However, mitigating factors, including Berenice's difficult childhood, exposure to domestic violence, and his efforts toward rehabilitation while incarcerated, were considered. Bobigny has participated in educational and rehabilitative programs, expressed remorse, and displayed personal growth, according to Judge Poldros. This case calls for a sentence above a 25-year minimum requested by the defense, Judge Poldros said. Despite showing good behavior during his 18 years in prison, Bobigny received a new sentence of 46 years to life for each of the 4 murder counts. He will be credited for time served and could go before a parole board as soon as 2043. The board will decide whether he should be released or continue serving his sentence. This family has been nothing but gracious and understanding, certainly frustrated and angry, said Prosecutor John Castleton of the Wilson family, who have now endured 4 sentencing hearings related to the case. Judge Poldros noted Berenice's remorse for his actions, saying, Mr. Bobigny confessed to his participation in the murders of the Wilson family, and has also expressed remorse for his actions. He also considered Berenice's difficult childhood and his positive behavior in prison before determining that a sentence above the 25-year minimum was necessary. Castleton also commented on Judge Poitras's handling of the case. I thought Judge Poitras did an excellent job. He knows the record very well, he knew the law very well, and I think he did what he felt the law compelled him to do, and within the bounds of the law, said Castleton. And I'll be honest, I don't really have any issue with the sentence. Reflecting on the legal changes, Castleton mentioned the challenges faced by the evolving legal landscape. Given the change in the law and the constant changing law here, this is better than, I think, the last sentencing we had on his co-defendant, Mr. Anderson, who will also be resentenced again. Berenice's co-defendant, David Anderson, was resentenced to 33 years to life. However, due to a recent state Supreme Court opinion, prosecutors have appealed Anderson's sentence and are seeking a new one. Prosecutor Amy Meckling, who handles the appeals, highlighted the impact of legal changes on victims' families. David Anderson and Alex Bobberny are I believe, the only juveniles in King County to have received life without parole for aggravated murder, said Meckling. I think the hardest thing for us is calling these families after 25, 30 years on cases that they thought they had been able to at least put the legal aspect behind them, and we're calling them cold, letting them know, hey, just so you know, we need you to be prepared, said Castleton. This is their fourth sentencing hearing on this case. There will be at least a fifth with Mr. Anderson's sentencing.